everyone. Today we are gonna see how we can use DataSlayer and a very simple script for Google Sheets to achieve an automated alert that gets sent as an email if say for example a monthly budget is over or under pacing. In this case, we set it up so that the email alert gets sent if a condition gets met, and in a specific, if the budget is overpacing by 5%, so therefore the pacing is 100% of the actual pacing, or if it's below 95%. So in this case, either way, we get an email alert whether we are under or overspending. This is particularly useful because it gets checked every morning, so that the account manager receives an email straight away, first thing in the morning, before even starting the day, alerting that the budgets need to be looked at and checked, because if changes are not made, it's very likely that the budget will exhaust before the end of the month, or will be way below an acceptable level of spend, therefore leading to a significant underspend. But let's get to the detail and see how we can combine the script with a very simple query from DataSlayer that gets automated and refreshed every day. So in this case, we already got our query and data pulled and displayed on the spreadsheet, on the Google Sheets. As you can see, is from Google Ads, and is a very simple query that pulls the data for year to date and split by month. So if we then open the tool from Add-ons DataSlayer, launching the tool from the sidebar, we can see that if we go to modify the query, we are able to see the details of this query. So there we are. So as we can see, is a Google Ads query, but we're still using the data from Google Analytics, which is exactly the same as if we were getting the data from from Google Ads. So as I mentioned, time range is the year to date. Dimension, so the split is by month. And then in terms of metrics, we have very simple metrics: impressions, clicks, click-through rate, CPC, and cost. For this purpose, even just the cost will be more than enough, because we're only looking at the budget pacing. Once we have the query, we just run it, and this is the outcome. So now, what is also really important to have in this spreadsheet for the purpose of this job is to have obviously the target. So in this case, we set up, for example, a target for the month of $6,000 spent. We also need a few things to be able to calculate our pacing. So here we got today's date as a formula, which is today and brackets. Here we know how many days are in the month with this formula. So we know that in March there is 31 days, and this is what the formula is returning. So therefore we know that we can also calculate the number of days that have already passed, which is basically today minus 1. And as such, we also know how many days are left. This allows us to calculate what is the pacing in the month. So at this point in time, if we look at what is the pacing up to yesterday, is 42%. To be precise, 41.9%. And we have 58.1% left. Therefore, our budget should pretty much align to that 42%, which in our case, it is. We can see that the variance, which is the difference between the days passed and the pacing, is just 1.93. So that's pretty acceptable, because as we say, we want to only really look at variances that are greater than 5% or less than 5%. But let's assume that, for example, we have a smaller budget. So if we say, for example, $5,000, therefore we can see that our budget is actually overpacing. How do we know that? is just creating another formula here, which is an if statement. Obviously multiple statements. So here we're saying if the value in W4, which is this, is more than 5, as we say more than 5%, then this cell will return the value of the string of text over. But if the value in W4 is less than 5, it will return under. So let's just see that example. So if we have, for example, a budget that is $7,000, there you go. The variance is minus 7%, therefore we are under. But if, like in our case, the budget is pretty much on par with the pacing, so within that 5 plus 5 minus 5% bracket, then our budget is okay. Now, we also have text value, so a string value of these variables here. So here the cost obviously is a currency value, but here we got it as a text in order to be able to round it, and also add the comma for the thousands. And here same for the variance, we got just a value as a string of text, which is the 1.93 difference between the pacing in terms of days and the pacing in terms of budget. With all this, is as simple as then creating a script, which is done from Tools, Script Editor. And again, in our case, we can see we already got that set up. We call the email alert, and the function is check spend. In here, we have a few variables. So we get variables that pulls the value in AC3, which is basically the value that returns the budget spent month to date. AC4 is our variance, which is 1.9 minus 1.9%. And finally, the W1, which is most important, is the variable that tells us whether we are over, under, or pacing okay. So with all these variables, we then set a condition in the script to check the W1 value. In this case, obviously, it's okay, but our condition is to set an alert to send an email if the trigger is that the month budget is not okay. So exclamation mark equals means is not. So what we're saying here is that find or trigger that alert only when the value is either over or under. Also, we have another variable for the email, which is in the tab called email B2, as we can see here. So this is the recipient of the email. We also then have variables to create the message, which is a combination of text with line breaks to format it in a nice way that is more user-friendly, and a combination of, as I mentioned, text and variables. So in this case, we are saying, hi there, your spend is whatever is the month budget variable, so the spend for the month. Sorry, actually, that is whether it's over or under. So this is saying your spend is over, under, budget by, and then the percentage amount. This month your spend is, and this is where actually the monthly spend to date is inserted. So is, for example, $2,400. Here's the link to the spreadsheet, and then finally we also have the subject, which is again combination of text and variable. So your spend is over or under budget. So as we go back to the spreadsheet, currently our budget is okay. So if we run the script, we can see the script is running without errors, but is not sending an email because the condition here is not met. So the month budget variable is okay, whereas we're looking for a value that is different from okay. It's not okay. So we can see no email alert has been triggered. Now, one thing I want to mention now before I forget is that when we run, we need to authorize the script. You will get an alert saying that it's unsafe to proceed, but it's just because obviously this is a script. I advise not to get concerned about it. Just go ahead and say, even if it says isn't safe, go ahead, click and authorize, because basically what the script is doing is basically connecting to your email in order to be authorized to send an email alert. Once that is done, you can run the script again. So let's see another example where, say for example, we are over or under. So here, let's put $5,000 as our target. Therefore, we are pacing at 48%, whereas we should be around 42. Hence, we are 6 above. So we are spending too much. We are overspending. Therefore, if we now run the script again, we should get an email alert. So the script has been executed, and we can see the email alert. Your spend is over budget. Hi there, your spend is over budget by 6.1%, which is the value pulled from here. As you can see, obviously, we rounded this one up. And this month, your spend is 2,400, which again is rounded up and pulled from this value. So you can see that it's working perfectly. Now, let's go back and change this to, say, $7,000 is our monthly budget, therefore we are under. So if we run the script again now, we should get another email, this time saying that our budget is under. And it's very quick. There you go. Your spend is under budget by 7.6%. As we can see, spend is remain the same, and here's the link to the report. Yeah, there it is. It's very simple. The only last thing to mention, obviously, is that this script wouldn't be very useful if you were to run this manually every time. The whole benefit of this is that this can be automated. In order to do that, we need to do two more things. One is set a auto refresh for the DataSlayer query. So to make sure that the query and the data are refreshed every morning. So in our case, what we're doing is we have set this one up to auto refresh every morning at 2 a.m. as you can see here. What that means is that tomorrow morning at 2 a.m. this value will change. Obviously, this value will change as well. So we'll see whether we are under, over, or we're pacing okay, like in our case. And the other really important thing is that in order for the script to be able to check this, we need to set up a trigger. So again, we go in the tool, script, trigger, we create a trigger. So in this case, what we did is created a trigger that runs the function check spend, and is time driven because this is run every day. As you can see, is a day timer between 6 and 7 a.m. So what's happening here is that the DataSlayer query will run at 2 a.m. in the morning, we'll update the numbers. Therefore, say for example, today we didn't have any spend, we might go under because we are falling behind with our budget pacing. This will be obviously flagged into the spreadsheet, but in order to get an email alert, we need the trigger to run after the query has been refreshed. So that's the reason why we put it between 6 and 7 a.m. And then the email will get sent. The script will check, and if the condition over or under is met, the email alert will be sent automatically. Finally, obviously this was a quick video. I hope it's going to be really helpful. I will put in the link below a copy of the spreadsheet with the query or the data of the query. I encourage you to recreate the query yourself. And then also, more importantly, I will also add a copy of the script, which you can customize and change to achieve your alerts. But I hope this is useful. Is certainly really useful for me and my team. But if you also have any queries or any questions, please just let me know. Put a comment in the link below, and then I'll do my best to reply as soon as possible. Thanks again. Thanks for watching. Speak soon. Bye.